I drove 4 hours through a snowstorm to surprise my wife on her girls' trip. She'd been talking about this weekend for months, wine tasting in Traverse City with her college friends, relaxation, reconnection, a break from our routine. I missed her, so I decided to show up with flowers and her favorite chocolates. The hotel lobby was warm, all fireplaces and soft lighting. I walked up to the front desk with a grin. "Hi, I'm here to surprise my wife. She's in room 804, Rebecca Hartley." The clerk smiled. "How sweet. Let me get you a key." She typed, paused, frowned. "Sir, room 804 is registered to Rebecca Hartley and Marcus Vance." My smile froze. "Who?" "Marcus Vance. It's a double occupancy reservation, king bed suite." The flowers felt heavy in my hand. "There must be a mistake," I said. "She's here with girlfriends." The clerk's face went carefully neutral. "I'm showing 2 names on the reservation, sir. Would you still like a key?" I stared at the screen, at my wife's name next to a man's name I'd never heard before. "Yes," I said quietly, "I'd like a key." She handed it over. "8th floor. Elevators are to your left." I walked to the elevator in a daze, pressed 8, watched the numbers climb. When the doors opened, I stepped into a carpeted hallway that smelled like lavender and lies. Room 804 was at the end of the hall. I stood outside the door, keycard in my hand, and heard something that made my blood run cold. Laughter. Her laughter, and a man's voice. I slid the key into the lock. The light turned green. I pushed the door open. If you want to know what I saw in that room and what I did next that destroyed her story in under 60 seconds, hit subscribe, because the bathrobe wasn't the only thing that didn't fit. My name is Daniel Hartley. I'm 38 years old, and I've been married to Rebecca for 9 years. We met at a marketing conference in Chicago. I was presenting on digital strategy. She was in the audience, front row, asking the smartest questions in the room. Afterward, we grabbed coffee. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into a weekend. 6 months later, I proposed on the same corner where we'd had that first coffee. She said yes before I finished the question. For 9 years, I thought we were solid. Not perfect, no marriage is, but solid. We had our routines, Sunday morning pancakes, Thursday date nights, annual trips to her parents' cabin in northern Michigan. We talked about kids someday, about buying a bigger house, about growing old together. I worked in tech, long hours, but good money. She worked in pharmaceutical sales, travel, client dinners, the usual. We made it work, or so I thought. The girls' trip had been on the calendar for 3 months. Rebecca and her college friends, Sarah, Michelle, and Amanda, planned it every year, a long weekend in Traverse City, wine tours, spa days, the kind of thing I never questioned. "You don't mind, do you?" she'd asked when she first brought it up. "Of course not," I said. "You deserve a break." She kissed me. "You're the best." The week before she left, she was different. Excited in a way I hadn't seen in a while. New clothes, a fresh haircut, she even bought new luggage. "It's just a girls' trip," I'd joked. "Not fashion week." She'd laughed. "I want to feel good, you know." I didn't think anything of it. I should have. She left on a Friday morning. I kissed her goodbye in the driveway. "Have fun," I said. "Text me when you get there." "I will. Love you." "Love you too." I watched her car disappear down the street and went back inside to an empty house. That night, I got a text. "Rebecca. Made it. Hotel is gorgeous. About to head to dinner with the girls. Miss you already. Heart." I smiled and texted back. Me. "Miss you too. Have a glass of wine for me." Rebecca. "Or 3. Normal. Easy. Nothing to worry about." Saturday, I worked from home, caught up on emails, watched a game, ordered pizza. Around 8 p.m., I texted her. Me. "How's the trip? You guys having fun?"
No response. I figured she was busy. Wine tasting, dinner, whatever. I texted again at 10. Me, everything okay? Still nothing. By midnight, I was starting to worry. I called. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. Hey, it's me. Just checking in. Call me when you get this. I told myself not to panic. She was probably asleep, or her phone died, or she was having too much fun to check her messages. I went to bed, but I didn't sleep well. Sunday morning, I woke up to a text. Rebecca. Sorry, phone died last night and I forgot my charger. We were out late. Everything's great. Talk later. Heart. Relief washed over me. Me. No worries. Glad you're having fun. Love you. Rebecca. Love you too. I made coffee, went for a run, and tried to shake the weird feeling in my gut, but it wouldn't go away. Around noon, I was scrolling through Instagram and saw a post from Sarah, one of Rebecca's friends. It was a photo of her and her husband at a pumpkin patch with their kids, dated yesterday. I stared at the photo. Sarah was supposed to be on the girls' trip. I checked Michelle's Instagram. She'd posted a photo from a birthday party, also yesterday. Amanda's feed showed her at a yoga retreat in Arizona.
My stomach dropped. None of them were in Traverse City. I called Sarah. Hey, Daniel. She sounded cheerful. What's up? Hey, Sarah, quick question. Did you guys change plans for the trip? Rebecca said her phone died, so I'm just checking in. There was a pause, a long one. Trip? The girls' trip, Traverse City, this weekend. Another pause. Daniel, I'm not on a trip. I'm home with the kids. My chest tightened. What about Michelle and Amanda? I don't think they went anywhere either. I saw Michelle yesterday at Target. The room tilted. Sarah, Rebecca said she was going to Traverse City with you guys this weekend. Silence. Then, quietly, Daniel, I don't know what to tell you. We didn't plan a trip. I hung up and sat on the couch, staring at my phone. Rebecca had lied. She wasn't with her friends. So where was she? And who was she with? I opened her text thread, scrolled back through the messages. Rebecca, hotel is gorgeous. I clicked on her location sharing. We'd set it up years ago for safety, so we'd always know where the other was. It was turned off. She'd disabled it. My hand started shaking. I opened Find My iPhone. We were on a family plan. Her phone pinged. Traverse City, the Grand Harbor Hotel. She was there, just not with who she said. I didn't think. I just moved. I grabbed my keys, my wallet, and a jacket. I threw a bag in the car, overnight stuff, just in case. Then I started driving. 4 hours north, through gray skies and the first snow of the season. I didn't call her, didn't text, I just drove. My mind raced the whole way. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe her friends bailed and she went alone. Maybe she met up with other people. Maybe. But deep down, I knew. You don't lie about a girls' trip unless you're hiding something. I pulled into the Grand Harbor Hotel just after 6 p.m. It was one of those upscale places, valet parking, doormen, a lobby that looked like a magazine spread. I walked in, still wearing my jeans and hoodie, flowers in one hand, chocolates in the other. The woman at the front desk smiled. "Good evening. Checking in?" "No, I'm here to surprise my wife. She's in room 804, Rebecca Hartley." Her smile brightened. "Oh, how sweet. Let me get you a key." She typed on her computer. Then her smile faltered. "Sir, room 804 is registered to Rebecca Hartley and Marcus Vance." The words hit me like a truck. "Who?" "Marcus Vance. It's a double occupancy reservation, king bed suite." I stared at her. There must be a mistake. She's here with friends. The clerk's face went carefully neutral, professional. "I'm showing 2 names on the reservation, sir." Can you tell me when they checked in?" She hesitated. "Friday afternoon, around 2 p.m.
2 p.m., right after she texted me that she'd arrived. "Would you still like a key?" she asked, gently. I nodded. Couldn't speak. She made the key and handed it over. "8th floor. Elevators are to your left." I stood in front of the elevator, key card in my hand, and felt my entire world tilt. Marcus Vance. I didn't know that name, but I was about to. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside, pressed 8. The ride up felt like hours. When the doors opened, I stepped into a quiet hallway, soft lighting, thick carpet. Room 804 was at the end. I walked slowly, each step heavier than the last. I stopped outside the door, and I heard it. Laughter. Her laughter. And a man's voice, deep, comfortable. "You're terrible at this game," he said. "Shut up," she giggled. "I'm letting you win." "Sure you are." More laughter. I stood there, frozen, listening to my wife flirt with a stranger. Then I slid the keycard into the lock. The light turned green. I pushed the door open. The room was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay, a king bed with white linens, a bottle of wine on the table, and 2 people on the couch. Rebecca, my wife, wearing a hotel robe, hair down, glass of wine in her hand, and a man, mid-30s, dark hair, wearing a matching robe. They were playing cards. They looked up when the door opened. Rebecca's face went from relaxed to horrified in half a second. "Daniel?" I stood in the doorway, flowers in one hand, chocolates in the other, staring at the scene in front of me. "Surprise," I said quietly. The man, Marcus, I assumed, stood up. "Who the hell are you?" "I'm her husband." The color drained from his face. Rebecca shot to her feet. "Daniel, this isn't—" "Isn't what?" I interrupted. "Isn't what it looks like?" She opened her mouth, closed it. I stepped into the room, set the flowers and chocolates on the table. "I drove 4 hours through a snowstorm to surprise you," I said, voice steady. "Because I missed you. Because I thought you were here with your friends." I looked at Marcus. "But Sarah's at home, Michelle's at Target, and Amanda's in Arizona." Rebecca's face crumpled. "Daniel, so I'm going to ask you once. Who is he?" She looked at Marcus, then at me. "He's a friend." "A friend?" "Yes." I pointed at the bed. "You share a king bed with your friends?" Silence. I walked to the bathroom, pushed the door open. 2 toothbrushes, 2 sets of toiletries, and 2 bathrobes hanging on the back of the door. One was women's size, the other was men's XL. I pulled the men's robe off the hook and held it up. "This your size, Rebecca?" She started crying. "Daniel, please, let me explain." "Explain what? That you lied to me for 3 months? That you invented a girls' trip so you could spend the weekend with him?" I turned to Marcus. "Did you know she was married?" He looked at the floor. Yeah, I repeated. "Cool. Great." I looked back at Rebecca. "How long?" "Daniel, how long have you been sleeping with him?" She flinched. 6 months.
6 months. Half a year. While I was working late to save for the house she wanted, while I was planning our anniversary trip, while I was telling her I loved her every single day. 6 months, I said quietly. She reached for me. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. It just—" "Don't," I said, stepping back. "Don't say it just happened. You planned this trip. You lied to me. You turned off your location. You booked a room with him." I looked around the suite. "How much did this cost?" "Daniel, how much?" $600 a night, Marcus said quietly. I laughed, a cold, bitter sound. "And who paid for it?" Rebecca's face went red. "You did," I said. "You used our joint account, didn't you?" She didn't answer. I pulled out my phone, opened our banking app. There it was, a charge from Friday, $1,800.
3 nights, I said. You spent $1,800 of our money to cheat on me. I should have yelled, should have thrown something, should have lost it. But I didn't. I just felt empty. I'm leaving, I said. Rebecca grabbed my arm. Daniel, please, don't go. We need to talk about this. I looked at her hand on my arm, then at her face. There's nothing to talk about, I said. You made your choice. I love you, she said, tears streaming. I made a mistake, please. You don't love me, I said quietly. You love the idea of me, the safety, the stability, but you don't love me. I pulled my arm free. If you did, you wouldn't be here. I walked to the door. Daniel, she called. I stopped, turned. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be gone by the time you get home. And I walked out. I didn't go to the elevator. I went to the front desk. The same clerk was there. She saw my face and her expression shifted. Sir? I need to speak to your manager. Of course, one moment. A man in a suit appeared. I'm Richard, the night manager. How can I help you? Room 804. It's registered to my wife and another man. I'd like a copy of the reservation details for my lawyer. Richard's face went professional. I understand. Let me print that for you. He handed me a folder. Inside was everything. The reservation, the charges, both names. Thank you, I said. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I nodded and walked out. I sat in my car in the parking lot, hands on the wheel, staring at nothing. My phone buzzed. Please come back. Let's talk. I'm so sorry. I didn't respond. It buzzed again. Daniel, please. I love you. This was a mistake. I blocked her number. Then I called the one person I knew would answer. Daniel? My brother's voice was groggy. It's 9 p.m. You okay? No, I said. I need a place to stay tonight. What happened? I'll tell you when I get there. I started the car and drove south, away from the hotel, away from my wife, away from the life I thought I had. I stayed at my brother's place that night, told him everything. He didn't say much, just listened, handed me a beer, let me sit in the quiet. The next morning, I called a lawyer. Her name was Karen Moss. She'd handled my brother's divorce 3 years ago. I need to file, I said, as soon as possible. Tell me what happened. I told her. The girls' trip, the hotel, the bathrobes. Do you have proof? She asked. I have the hotel reservation, both names, photos of the room, bank statements showing she paid for it with our joint account. Good, she said. That's very good. Why? Because in Michigan, adultery affects asset division, and if she used marital funds to finance the affair, that's dissipation of assets. We can argue she owes you reimbursement. I leaned back. I don't want her money. I just want out. I understand, Karen said, but you deserve to protect yourself. Let me handle this. I went back to the house on Monday. Rebecca's car was in the driveway. I walked in. She was sitting on the couch, eyes red, tissues everywhere. Daniel, she said, standing. Thank God, I've been trying to reach you. I blocked your number. She flinched. Please, let me explain. There's nothing to explain, I said. I'm here to pack. Daniel! I filed for divorce this morning. You'll be served tomorrow. Her face went white. You can't be serious. I'm very serious. Daniel, I made a mistake. One mistake. You can't throw away 9 years over one mistake. I stopped, turned to face her. It wasn't one mistake, Rebecca. It was 6 months of lies. It was a fake girls' trip. It was $1,800 of our money spent on a hotel room with another man. I stepped closer. It was every time you looked me in the eye and said you loved me while you were sleeping with him. She started crying. I do love you. No, I said, you don't. I packed my things, Clothes, laptop, a few personal items. Rebecca followed me from room to room, begging me to stay. "We can go to counseling," she said. "We can fix this." "I don't want to fix it. I want to be done." "Daniel, please." I zipped my bag, looked at her. "Answer one question," I said. "If I hadn't shown up at that hotel, would you have told me?" She hesitated. That was all the answer I needed. "Goodbye, Rebecca." I walked out. The divorce took 4 months. Karen was right. The adultery and the dissipation of assets worked in my favor. Rebecca tried to fight it at first, claimed it was a brief lapse in judgment, that she deserved half of everything. Then Karen presented the evidence, the hotel reservation, the bank statements, the timeline. Rebecca's lawyer advised her to settle. She kept the house. She'd put down the down payment before we were married. I kept my retirement accounts, my car, and my dignity. No alimony. Clean split. By the time the papers were signed, I'd already moved into a new apartment across town. Smaller, quieter, mine.
6 months after the divorce, I was having coffee with my brother. "You doing okay?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "Actually, I am." "You seeing anyone?" "Not yet. I'm not ready." He nodded. "That's fair. I'm just focusing on me, you know? Work, the gym, figuring out who I am without her. That's healthy." I took a sip of coffee. I thought I'd be more angry, but I'm not. I'm just relieved. Relieved? Yeah, like I dodged a bullet. If I hadn't shown up at that hotel, I might have spent another year or 10 with someone who didn't respect me. My brother raised his cup. "To dodging bullets." I clinked my cup against his. "To dodging bullets." A year later, I met someone. Her name was Emily. She was a teacher. Kind, honest, funny. We met at a bookstore, both reaching for the same novel. "You have good taste," she said. "So do you." We got coffee, then dinner, then a second date, then a third. I told her about Rebecca on our 5th date, the whole story. She listened, didn't judge, just listened. "That must have been awful," she said. It was, but it also taught me something. What? That I deserve someone who chooses me every day, not just when it's convenient. She smiled. "You do. So do you." We've been together for 2 years now, and every day she chooses me. I saw Rebecca once, about a year after the divorce. I was at a coffee shop. She walked in with Marcus. They didn't see me. I watched them order, watched them sit down, watched them talk. They looked fine. Not happy, just fine. I finished my coffee and left. I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel sad. I just felt nothing. She was a chapter in my life, a closed one, and I was okay with that. If you've ever been lied to, if you've ever driven through a snowstorm to surprise someone who didn't deserve it, if you've ever found the courage to walk away from someone who didn't choose you, this one's for you. You deserve someone who doesn't need a girls' trip to cheat. You deserve someone who doesn't turn off their location because they have something to hide. You deserve someone who would never make you stand in a hotel hallway listening to them laugh with someone else. Comment, "I walked away," if this hit home. Hit subscribe for more stories about finding the strength to choose yourself. Because the best revenge isn't exposing them, it's building a life so good you forget they existed.